What is up, everybody? This is Hunter, and this is the Week of Wrestling podcast. We are doing a video form today as a special treat for you guys, and I'm here by my co-host, Nico Suave Regoli. How's it going, man?
Well, this is a video form, but if you still choose to listen to us on audio form, hi to those of you who are listening as well. But yeah, we're trying something different. Launched the new channel, Combat Wrestling Network on YouTube. We are starting things off on the right foot, and we're here to talk about the Royal Rumble 2019.
Oh, yes, we are. And we have a special guest, Adonis. How's it going, brother?
Hey, everything's cool, man. Thanks for having me, and looking forward to breaking this down.
Oh, yes. So this is going to be an all Royal Rumble 2019 breakdown preview, or not preview, I'm sorry, review. So, Nico, let's start with you. Your overall thoughts on the 2019 Rumble.
My overall thoughts as I finish chewing on this French fry is for an event that had so many matches on the card, it did very well. All the matches I'd say were good, and I think there was just one casualty of fatigue from there being so many matches. Like, there was one match that the crowd wasn't as into as they were the others. And, sometimes that's to be expected when you have this many matches on the card, two of them being an hour long each. But for what we got, it was a great pay-per-view.
Oh, yes. All right. Adonis, on to you. Overall thought.
I enjoyed the pay-per-view a lot. I agree with Nico. I believe I know what match he's speaking of. Overall, it was a really good Royal Rumble pay-per-view. I had tiny issues with the length and the structure, but I was entertained. Even from the preview show, the kickoff show, I was entertained. Night of good wrestling.
Oh, yes. And on to me, obviously. I love the Rumble. I think the Rumble is probably my favorite of the main four, at least, because it is unexpected and you have a lot of surprises, shocks, a lot of fun. And that's exactly what this Rumble gave us, was a lot of fun. There were some great matches. The two Rumble matches I thought were really good. I do agree some of the match orders were a bit weird, and the structure was a bit off-based at some points, but overall, a great night of wrestling. So, let's kick it off. We're not doing the pre-show because we didn't watch it, but we opened the night with... Oh, you did?
Well, Hunter and I didn't have that luxury because we were doing a match for charity live, which, by the way, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's a great match.
So crucify me because I wasn't charitable and I was selfish and I decided to watch some wrestling.
Nah, we love you, man. We love you.
I love you too. As far as the preview show, the 205 4-way was fast-paced and high impact. It was very clean. And I believe the champion who went in came out champion. And yes. I'm not too familiar with 205 Live, but I enjoyed the match.
Buddy Murphy did retain, yes.
Yes, he did.
The Rusev Shinsuke Nakamura match, it was very lackluster, to say the least.
Yeah, and then we also had Bobby Roode and Chad Gable versus Scott Dawson and Razor, which was a weird fucking pairing.
And awkward. You could tell that these guys weren't familiar with each other. The timing was off. It was a botch fest.
Oh, yeah, obviously. So, we open the night with the SmackDown Women's Championship match as the champion Asuka takes on Becky Lynch. This match went 17 minutes and 10 seconds. Nico, thoughts on this opening match?
So there was a lot of interesting build-up to this match in the weeks before it. Like, there was some uncertainty of whether or not Asuka would rise to the same occasion as SmackDown Women's Champion that Becky had before her. But Becky brought something out of Asuka that made her rise to Becky's level of newfound success. And so it was basically just badass girl wanting to be the face of the company versus badass girl wanting to be the face of the company, and it worked so well. It was like you saw the heart, the effort, the determination that these two put on in this match. It showed in everything they did. I like that they were going submission for submission because like that's we're all MMA guys too, and so we know that like one of the worst things that can happen to you mentally is that you get tapped out. You essentially gave up to your opponent. And so Asuka and Becky were constantly trying to make each other submit to each other's will, to make the other one give up. And the way it ended, Asuka ended up making Becky tap. Now, some people had some issue with that at the end, but given what we saw last night on SmackDown, where Charlotte jumped Becky from behind, injuring her further, and Becky's first thought was, I'm staying as far away from the trainer's office as possible because I know they're going to put me on the shelf as soon as they check me out. So from a certain standpoint, I can understand why Becky would tap out in this particular match. It's because she's trying to preserve herself to make it to Mania season, and maybe she also had the proper hindsight to watch the pay-per-view and see what happened with Lana and realize there's an opening here that I can take advantage of later on, so I need to preserve myself later on for this moment. I've lost this battle, but the war still wages on, and I have a chance to win the war.
All right, Adonis, on you.
I believe that was the best match on the whole card, including the two Rumbles. In my opinion, that was the opening and the climax of the night. That match was clean. It was high impact. It was back and forth. You got good spots out of both ladies. And I enjoy when somebody brings that nastiness out of Asuka. Asuka, when she's doing the thing and making jokes and being all lighthearted, is she still entertaining and good? Yes. But I like when Asuka's angry. I like when she has that little edge to her where, you know, you can see that New Japan coming out, that little bit of hardcore coming out, like that Asuka that went at it with Nikki Cross. I like that kind of Asuka. And Becky, she always says all the time, the man doesn't play, the man fights. And she wanted to fight. She got one with Asuka. It was a good, clean match. And honestly, I enjoyed watching Asuka win. I know I'm a big Becky Lynch fan. A big part of the reason why I got back into the WWE was because of, honestly, the women's side of wrestling. It's more interesting now than a lot of the men's storylines. So it was cool to see two of my favorites go at it. And I'm glad Asuka came out on top because I know Becky's going to get that push. And it's good to see Asuka, you know, finally go into a major pay-per-view and come out the other side clean.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right, so on to me. This match was good. It was really damn good. It was a great opener. It got the fans high up. The energy was high in the building. Everyone was ready for the Rumble after this match. Was it my favorite match of the night? No, and I'll get to mine in a little bit, but this match was solid. This match was really, really, really technically solid. Had some great spots, had some high-flying moments, had some really strong style moments, which I love seeing Asuka and Becky go at it, especially exchanging strikes. I'm on the other side where I think Becky shouldn't have tapped, but she should have passed out from the pain.
See,
maybe she had the cattle mutilation and then she passed out. That makes both women look strong because Asuka wins and Becky doesn't tap out.
You try to go the Steve Austin, Bret Hart way?
Kind of, yes.
You see, you know my feelings about the idea of passing out from the pain in arm and leg submissions. I've never been a fan of that I feel it like, again, we're all MMA guys. We know how unrealistic that is. And as Adonis just said, this was a fight between two ladies who come to fight. They come to bring their A game every time they step into the ring. And so, like, that if you were to have one of them pass out from the pain, it would just look so unrealistic in this such of a real fight environment that we find ourselves in.
I also believe, and I agree with you, Hunter, in the fact that maybe not her pass out from pain, but if they would have did a variation of a north-south choke where it's not a pain choke, it's a blood and air choke, or they do a version of the RNC, which is a rear naked choke, then Becky can fight and struggle and fight until she passes out.
Or hell. Shit.
Like,
or hell, have Oscar just put in the Oscar lock. Have Becky fight out of that.
But isn't, forgive my ignorance, but isn't the Oscar lock more of a pain choke?
No, it's a half choke, half arm lock. So it's a chicken wing position. So you can pass out from the choke or tap out through the arm pain to the back.
And people have passed out from that move before, so that's a more logical way to go. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, though, would a doctor have cleared Becky, in kayfabe at least, to take Lana's place in the Rumble had she just gotten choked unconscious about an hour beforehand?
Oh, this is true. I mean, I think in my humble opinion, I think the match ended the cleanest way they could have, because if you put Becky's back on the canvas and you scoop her and you pin her, that's it leaves a bad taste. But in a inverted north-south choke, you tap out, there's no other way to go out on your shield than being choked out in an inverted north-south choke.
But also, tapping out is also the ultimate defeat. I thought we were supposed to be leveling Becky higher and higher and higher, but having her tap out someone who, I love Asuka, but Asuka's not at the level she was in NXT. If she was still undefeated, or if she was getting back to that badass Asuka, I would understand. But this is an Asuka that had lost the streak, is doing the comedy act, is finally trying to get back there. But
here's the thing: beating Becky at this stage of Becky's career, that essentially catapults Asuka back to that place where you feel she's no longer at. So glass half full, glass half empty. You're looking at the glass half empty. We're seeing it from the glass half full. This elevates Asuka rather than brings Becky down.
Yes. Another thing.
It's more of a double-edged sword, because now not only did Becky lose the title, but now she's tapping out on the next pay-per-view. That's not how you want to build someone who's going to be the future, pretty much. With how over Becky is, to have her just tap out after losing the belt so soon.
All right. Well, how about I give it to you like this? Not only are we all MMA guys, we're all movie guys, right? Look at this as a little mini series. Okay, we start at TLC. She loses her title. Does she lose it clean? No. Ronda Rousey interferes, correct?
Yes.
Asuka's able to climb, gets the belt, right? Move on to this pay-per-view. Becky gets her one-up. Like, she gets to say, okay, you didn't beat me clean. Ronda beat me. You just took advantage of a shot. I want to fight you. I want to fight the best Asuka. Now, Asuka's journey, the WWE shitted on her at WrestleMania, because everybody wants to put over Charlotte, right? And then they buried her on SmackDown because her English isn't that good. The only way Asuka translate is through violence. Let's call it what it is, right? So now you have Becky and Asuka meet up at the Royal Rumble. You want to give Becky the hero's journey, and a hero can't be a hero until they go through some dark shit. She lost her title at TLC. She gets tapped out by the person who deserved the push from the beginning anyway. to Asuka, and now she has an opportunity to win the Royal Rumble, be the hero, and come full circle and challenge Ronda Rousey for A, ruining her TLC match, and B, to be the head of the women's division, to be the face. I see a good story there.
And this has happened. This has happened in the past too. Like Bret Hart, he lost to Owen Hart, and then later on that night, he went on to win the Royal Rumble. There's precedent from past wrestling for this kind of stuff to happen, in which the star of the company takes a defeat, but then at the end of the night,
Bret lost to Owen at Mania, and then then Bret beat Yokozuna for the title.
Well, I might be remembering it wrong, but there's still precedent for the top star of the company essentially losing one match, but then going on to win an even bigger match later on that night. It happened with Seth Rollins when he was at Mania 31. Like, he lost to Randy Orton, but then he was able to pin Brock Lesnar by cashing in Money in the Bank to become WWE champion. So, like, Becky had essentially that same story at this event. She didn't come out on the successful end against Asuka. She had to go through that dark shit that Adonis just mentioned, but then she came out on top after getting her ass kicked and finally got that Royal Rumble victory. And now she's going on to face the woman who took away her chance to represent SmackDown with pride at Survivor Series. So this is a small cog in a very big story with a lot of layers to it.
But also, the way I see it, though, is...
You've said how you see it, and we've said how we see it. And I feel like I know you need to have the last word. Granted, this is your channel more than it is mine, but we've made the point. There's no sense...
something totally different, but...
I want to hear this.
Same subject, but...
What's the subject?
What sucks is I feel like Ronda's going to beat Becky.
No.
Because Ronda is the Raw's champion. And I don't see Becky going over to Raw anytime soon.
And Becky choosing Ronda puts her on Raw. She's gonna float between both shows. Right? She's gonna be there to turn the screws. She's gonna turn it on now. And honestly, I don't see Ronda beating her.
I don't either.
I have it 50-50. I have it 50-50 because I see Ronda. She obviously wants to keep that mystique of being the best woman on the planet. So there's an argument for her to win at Mania. On the other hand, Becky is the big time player of the company right now. So there's also a great argument for her to win that match. That's the beauty of WrestleMania season is we won't know until we get there, but we now know what the match officially is, and we can speculate and we can think about what's going to happen. Elimination Chamber and Fastlane haven't even happened yet, so there are still 2 more pay-per-views to go before we get to Mania officially.
I hope they don't go with the 3-way.
I hope we don't get hashtag shoehorn Charlotte.
Yeah, I don't want Charlotte to be thrown in this match just because she's a Flair.
Honestly, I don't think there's enough titles for the women. I was talking to my wife last night, and I was like, I honestly think they should make a women's intercontinental title.
And that might be in the cards. That might be in the cards.
Or like a women's international championship or something like that.
It might be in the cards. We won't know until we get to that point in time. But I think the consensus is clear that we all liked this match very much.
Yeah.
Very much.
Now, moving on to a match that I'm indifferent about. The Miz and Shane McMahon taking on the Bar for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. I'll start with this one. I like what they're doing with Miz. God damn. Like, why'd you have to feed him to the Bar? Like the Bar is so good to have them lose their belts to Shane and Miz. I mean, I get it. It works for a storyline purpose, kind of. But even the storyline purpose is messed up with a lot of inconsistencies. Like, Miz's dad not being proud of him. Well, then why was he at ringside cheering him on?
Let me explain here. It's not a matter of his dad not being proud of him. It's a matter of his dad not saying that he's proud of him. Like, like sometimes saying it makes all the difference in how you feel inside. And I've been there. Like there are times where I wonder, is Tim Smith actually happy with the job I'm doing for him? Because like there are times where I just want to hear him say, I'm proud of the job you've done. Like I have a strong feeling that he is proud of the job I'm doing, but just hearing him say it would put me at better ease inside. So I get where Miz was coming from, and I also get where Shane is coming from, because Vince McMahon, he's a hard ass. So getting in touch with his emotional side isn't something he normally does. So Shane has probably also felt at times, will you just say, for crying out loud, that you're proud of me? And like, that's kind of why Shane left for several years between like, what was it, 08 and 2016-ish, because like he was unsatisfied with his place in the company. He just wanted to run a wrestling promotion. His dad was not giving him that opportunity to do so. So he was like, I'm going to try other things, maybe get involved in the UFC investments and just see where life takes me. And then he comes back in February of a couple of years ago, and now he has a role in the company again. But yes, saying I'm proud of you makes all the difference sometimes, depending on the person you're dealing with. And,
well, Nico, we're proud of you, brother.
Yes, we are.
Thank you.
But like the way I see it though is like Mrs. Dad in the audience was like constantly cheering on his son to win the match. That's pretty much saying, hey, I'm proud of you. Go and win that belt.
Yeah, pretty much.
And the fact that Miz made it seem like his dad was never proud of him and he needed someone like Shane to be a role model, that kind of felt weird because like his dad was in the audience, like cheering him on in front row, celebrating with him, you know, having the belts, everything like that. But like, where was this in the storyline beforehand?
Again, though, words have power. Words have power, and like being there, that's one thing. Saying it, saying what is actually on your heart and mind, that sometimes makes a bigger difference. It all depends on the person, and in which case, the Miz, he wanted to hear his dad say it. Just being there, it wasn't enough, because like I know for a fact from having watched Miz and Mrs. on USA that like when Miz headlined WrestleMania, his dad was definitely proud, but he was also like, he was proud because The Rock was there. Like, I know the Mrs. Dad is a big Rock fan.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it's a matter of like, be there for me. Say that you're proud of me. And we finally got that closure last night on SmackDown, where his dad said, finally, I'm proud of you. The closure was finally there. And this, in my mind, was a storyline that was not supposed to work, and it worked tenfold. I'm so happy that this storyline has worked out as well as it has. I'm very happy that Miz and Shane are the tag team champions, because no offense to the Bar, I just didn't feel like they were doing as much with the titles as, say, the Usos or the New Day were. So, like, Miz and Shane getting this run with the titles, it makes the picture a little bit more interesting, especially now with the Usos being the number one contenders. For all we know, we could get another rap battle, and some people might dislike that, but I kind of like that in the sense that, like, now we get to hear Miz and Shane do a ridiculous white person rap against two guys who know how to be street to the core. And, like, I want to see how those television segments play out. I want to see what kind of in-ring chemistry those four individuals have. And I feel like we're going to get something interesting out of this.
Hunter, what do you think this takes to tag titles? Like, you think this muddies the water?
I kind of do, because it's like, okay, I love Miz. I love his heel work. His face runs have been iffy at best. I think this is one of the best face runs he's done. But again, this is a story you could have done without sacrificing the tag team titles for it. I mean, this is something that didn't need the belts, and it just felt like, okay, we're going to give Shane another title because he's Vince's son, and he needs a storyline to do. Now I know that's not Shane, but that feels like what Vince is trying to do.
It does feel a little shoehorned.
Yeah.
Always got to have a McMahon somewhere in the mix,
And I don't like it when an authority figure wins a title or like a general manager or whatever. So like when Vince had the titles, I thought it was so dumb. Again, Shane was okay back in the 90s because he had done some wrestling before, but nowadays he's a bit too old. He's still an authority type figure.
He's in better shape though than he was back then, to be honest with you. Like, have you seen him? Have you seen his abs? Like, he's got some abs.
Back then, he was all beard gut and
I don't know. Like, I agree with Adonis where it feels shoehorned. Like the titles don't
mean anything
there, and you're sacrificing the SmackDown tag division for this one kind of cheap pop moment.
I think the titles almost became a MacGuffin so Miz's dad can be proud of him.
Yeah.
Now, I won't have a problem with it if the Usos go in there and mop them up.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Make it a quick turnaround, boom, 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 and then get it back on par. Because let's call it what it is, gentlemen. I've been watching wrestling consistently over the last 4 or 5 months. I don't know shit about the tag team tag teams on Raw. Not because I can't name them to you, but none of them are memorable. I watched SmackDown for tag team action. The best tag teams are on SmackDown, in my opinion.
And that's kind of what I love about SmackDown, though, is like everything Raw does wrong, SmackDown finds a way to do it right. So even like taking this weird ass pairing of Miz and Shane McMahon, they found a way to make this pairing interesting to the point that like some people like myself wanted to see them win the tag team titles and see the story come to this interesting conclusion. And now where does it go from here? Whereas with Raw, they tried to do that same weird ass pairing with Scott Dawson and Razar several hours prior, and it did not work. They've tried to do those pairings with like even Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, who are the Raw tag team champions right now. There's still an argument to be made that like, is the experiment a success? Hard to say. But like here on SmackDown with the Miz and Shane McMahon, they got my interest. They got the rest of the audience's interest. So I'd call this a success.
I don't want this to affect the SmackDown tag division because, as you guys brought up, the tag division on SmackDown is so much leaps and bounds better than Raw's.
Promo-wise, everything. Personality,
promo-wise, wrestling-wise. I want the Revival to go over to SmackDown because they will be used correctly. That's my personal opinion. And to have someone like Shane and Miz, who don't get it twisted. I like Shane and I love Miz as a wrestler, as a character, as a promo guy, whatever. But to give them the tag team belts after they beat pretty much jobbers and lost to one of those jobbers, I don't care what anyone says, they still got a pinfall. It just doesn't make any sense. The belts didn't need to be there. The match was okay at best. I hate Shane's punches. I've always hated the way Shane throws his weird ass like rabbit jabs.
I won't disagree with you there. Yeah,
the whole skipping around the ring like Muhammad Ali, and yeah, it's kind of dated.
I actually like that because it is kind of entertaining, but like his rabbit punches in the corner are just weird.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on.
You know what it is? Because we're all MMA guys, and when we see corny shit like that, we're like, okay.
Yeah, like, what the hell are you doing? That's not how you throw a punch at all.
What are you doing?
All right, so let's move on.
So what were your overall feelings on it? Like, before we move on, were you entertained with it?
I was entertained.
We didn't even really get into the match. Yeah. We didn't give the guys their due as far as,
I mean, the match itself was okay. The in-ring work was good, especially when it comes to people like Miz, Sheamus, and Cesaro. Shane held his own, but I feel like he was just there for the big spots, the elbow drop, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think the real workhorses of this match were the Bar and the Miz, which they pretty much carried the match for Shane. I was entertained enough. I don't want the tag team belts to be affected by this kind of just throw away the belts and give it to Shane and Miz. Nico?
This match was everything I wanted to be. I'm not going to say a negative thing about this match or about this storyline. I'm very happy, and I want to see where things go now that the Usos are part of this arc that the Miz and Shane McMahon are going through. Because where things were lacking with the Bar, I feel like the Usos can greatly make up for it. Because the Usos and the New Day, they're basically the top tag teams in all of WWE, in my honest opinion. They know how to get the crowd on their side. They know how to tell a story through their many years of working for the company, and they I feel like will bring something special to the table that I feel like the Bar essentially did not, at least for the first couple weeks that this feud was going on.
All right, and on to you, Adonis.
Overall, the spots that I saw, they were clean, they were hard hitting. A lot of stuff looked real stiff, real firm. Storyline wise, it always has left a bad taste in my mouth when you ram a McMahon into a storyline. It bothers me when you put a title on him, but I understand it. When you own all the toys and it's your toy box, hey, you're gonna be Superman. You know what I mean? So, I get it. I don't know. I think those titles deserve a lot more, and I'm intrigued enough to want to see where they're gonna take it.
Yep. All right, so are we ready to move on to the next match?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right, so the next match is the Raw Women's Championship. The champion Ronda Rousey takes on Sasha Banks. All right, Nico, start us off.
So essentially, a lot of what I said about Asuka versus Becky, I feel like this also applies to Ronda versus Sasha, but there's a lot more animosity between these two. And I think the ratio between how much of it is scripted animosity versus how much of it is real animosity is up for debate. Because, I know from having read interviews from Sasha in the past, she might have that territorial mind of an MMA person is coming into my business, and I feel threatened a little bit because now she's at the top of the company, whereas I've been working so damn hard for so damn long, and she just kind of, based on her natural talents and her past accomplishments elsewhere, she's getting this push. But Ronda has proven herself over the past year or so that this push was warranted for her. And sometimes we've seen it between certain people, when they hate each other, when there's animosity towards each other, they put on the best matches out of everyone else on the card. They hate each other, but the respect between them is definitely there, and that respect equals trust. And so they're willing to do those certain spots that will get the crowd super amped up. And we see these two going hold for hold, blow for blow for 13 and a half, for almost 14 full minutes. Mm-hmm. And it was intense. It was intense just watching these two go at it. I loved every minute of it. There were a lot of times where I thought, oh shit, Sasha might actually win this, especially when she used her own ring gear as sort of like a weapon and yanking on Ronda's mouth with it. That was a beautiful spot, and kudos to the ref for actually being on top of it, realizing, hey, this isn't a no DQ match. Get that shit out of there. But she keeps going for it anyway because of that desperation to finally get that Raw Women's title back after not having it for so long. And she tries and she tries, but Ronda is able to defend. They both defended each other's submissions very well, and I really like that for the first time since Ronda joined WWE, at least in terms of her televised stuff, that she won this match via pinfall, and it took her several of those unique Samoan drops that she does. It took her several times using that move to get the actual pinfall, because that makes Sasha look tough, and that it took more than one blow to put her down. And it shows also that Ronda has more layers to her game than we may have thought she did before. Because basically before that, she was a submission person. She had the armbar, and she had every variation of the armbar at her disposal. Now she has pins as well. So that makes things very interesting. And the embrace between these two after the match in which they shook hands, by the way, it was very interesting seeing a left-handed handshake, unless I was viewing the TV wrong. I thought it was
a left-handed. It was a left-handed handshake.
Yeah.
Okay. That was interesting. But like, they have the respect, and then Sasha, as she's leaving the ring, she suddenly walks back, and I love that she gave the 4 horsewomen symbol, because who knows what she could be teasing there. We could see all 4 of the original NXT horsewomen with gold by the end of Mania. And Hunter, he may not like that because, that means Charlotte gets another title, but I wouldn't mind it. I feel like with what the women's division is doing right now, there are very few people in either Raw or SmackDown's women's divisions that look weak. So, and this is another match that made everyone involved look super strong.
All right. And
go ahead, Hunter. What are your feelings on it?
Throw me on the bus over there, Nico. It's not that I would be upset if Charlotte had another belt. It's just she's had 7 in only like 2 years. She's
good. She's good at what she does.
She is.
She is, but
she's really good.
And like AJ had his title he didn't have as many title reigns, but he's had lengthy title reigns for the 2 that he's had. So you do good work for the company, they will reward you for the majority of the time, unless you're Zack Ryder, but that's a different story. And like Charlotte's done good work for the company. Sasha and Bayley and Becky and Ronda have all done great work for the company. So it's only fair that they get rewarded if they're doing good work.
I mean, go ahead, Hunter.
It's just my point of, like, we know what they're trying to do. They're trying to get Charlotte to have the 16 title reigns just like her dad. We know that's what they're planning for. That's why her and Sasha hopscotched the title so much like a year and a half ago. It's because they want Charlotte to have that 16 record that Ric Flair has. Yes, she's a good wrestler. Her promos, iffy at best. But we have to look at the fact, and I hate bringing this up,
can we? Well, hold on. Let me stop you. Let me stop you. Can we actually talk about the people that are involved in the match we're talking about right now? We can rant about Charlotte when we get to the women's Royal Rumble.
We'll get on Charlotte's ass in a minute.
But the match itself, I thought was pretty good. Not as good as the SmackDown ones, but I felt for what they had, they did really well. I like I like the intensity of this match. I like that it went back and forth, shot for shot. And I like the line of Ronda screaming, "You think I can't wrestle?" And then beating Sasha with a pinfall, not a submission. I like how they told that full story in one match. Adonis?
The match, I'll comment on the match itself. I have other comments when it comes to Ronda Rousey and the women's division separately. The match itself was entertaining. I personally believe Sasha Banks made Ronda Rousey look better. It wasn't that Ronda Rousey brought anything out of Sasha Banks. I think Sasha Banks is the one that brought everything out of Ronda Rousey and made her look good. You know? I think it's unfortunate that a lot of these girls have put in a lot more work than Ronda has, and they've had to sit by the wayside while this girl who can't cut a promo to save her life, who can't act, and I know I probably sound like a Ronda Rousey hater at this point, but I'm an MMA guy first, and you cannot call her the baddest woman on the planet when the last 2 times that we saw her in real combat, she was getting starched. Mm-hmm. And not only did she get starched, she ran. She never came out and said, they were the better fighter. I have to. She hid. And next thing you know, she's arm barring people in the WWE, being called the baddest woman on the planet. I want her to have her run, and I want her to be done with. So that's all I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for Mania. When Ronda Rousey decides that I'm going to go be Travis Brown's incubator and go make some babies. Bye-bye. Kick rocks.
Well, damn. Okay.
I will agree with some of the points, and especially that I think Ronda's title reign was rushed. Like, she only had like 3 matches, and then she got the belt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be real. I think she also felt it was rushed, but granted, the people who were writing the show booked themselves into a corner where they're we got her sitting on the sidelines. We don't want her to get rusty or lose popularity in the time that we're keeping her on the sidelines. So we got to do something. And unfortunately, it was just like they had to pull the plug with Nia Jax and the title at that time. It is what it is, and like they found a way to make the title chase that much more interesting with Alexa Bliss getting the Money in the Bank contract and cashing it in to make that chase just a little bit longer and a little more angry.
But it wasn't that long though, because right after Alexa got squashed by Ronda, she didn't even get, I think, 1 offensive move in before she was tapping out, and Ronda was a new champion.
Yeah, she did kind of get squashed in that match.
No, it was a total squash match. It's just, okay, I understand that you don't want her to sit down and rust, but things like that take time. And especially if she can learn her promos, and especially if she can get better in the ring that she already was. She was already pretty good in the ring.
I'm not denying
better.
I'm not her. You see the in-ring performance and the getting the moves down, right? That's going to come naturally to her. You know why? Because I'm not saying she's a terrible athlete, right? She's a great athlete. She's an Olympic athlete. She drills something a couple of times. It's in her back pocket. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
But you can't teach charisma. She doesn't have it.
Yeah.
You can't teach spontaneity and wittiness. She doesn't have it. Why do you think they pulled the plug on all those movies? Roadhouse. She was supposed to be in a Fast and the Furious spinoff. All of those. They pulled the plug on them faster than... Listen, let me tell you something. She can't act. She has no charisma. She has no wit. So she does... You know what they serve her best? They should have stuck her with Paul Heyman. Let her sit back as the dark, brooding, strong, silent type.
Behind the scenes, they kind of are, because she might not be the best actress, but she knows how to hype herself up as, whether we agree with it or not, as the baddest woman on the planet. And Paul Heyman knows how. Paul Heyman has been helping her write her promos to harness that, and that's how she was so ruthless with her promo game against Nikki Bella, and that's how she's now this rivalry in particular with Sasha Banks. There was a bit more of like, oh, I'm fangirling out, and I'm feeling awkward about that. So again, there wasn't a lot of that with this storyline. But with Becky, if the crowd will actually let Ronda get a sentence out or two, then there's room for the promo game to actually pay off for Ronda.
But thing is, Paul can write the best promo of his entire life, but Ronda can't deliver it correctly.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Paul can write this great promo, which he normally does, but if someone can't deliver it the way that the promo was intended to be delivered, then it's not going to mean anything. It's just words on a page.
Exactly.
Now, you stick her with Paul Heyman in a role like he is with Brock Lesnar, then he can hype the shit out of Ronda.
Mm-hmm.
Just
and
like
she
he
could
does
say,
with Lesnar.
you could have him,
Keep
Heyman's
writing
just an
promos.
example. Yeah, you can have Heyman's just an example. You put somebody with real charisma, with real mic skills to be her mouthpiece, and at the end of the promo,
Leo
at
Rush,
the end of the
damn.
segment, right? At the end of the promo, at the end of the segment, you let her say one or two things. She drops the mic, she scowls at you, whatever the hell that Ronda does, and she kicks rocks. She walks off.
Yep. And she's there more than Lesnar, so to have more screen time with Paul means that he can really hype up a feud, which
you know what?
he can't really do with Brock.
If they were smart, they take what happened on Monday night as a learning lesson and be like, listen, Paul, she's getting booed. They're not allowing her to speak. Why don't you go out there with her and use it as, I'm not going to allow you to treat this monster, this machine
I'm not gonna
like this.
let you disrespect my new client. Bam, off the road.
That's it.
And bam, you have someone who can really set up feuds. You have someone who can talk on feuds. You have someone who can hype up Ronda as the monster that she is. And Ronda can be just like Brock, but she's there all the damn time.
Okay.
I think Nick's about to lose his mind.
I got to put on my producer hat because we've been here for an hour now, and we're only barely halfway through the entire card. So, Adonis, how did you feel about this match? And then we'll move on to the Women's Royal Rumble.
I thought it was a good match. Just over the whole Ronda Rousey thing, and I think that the other women deserve better.
Okay, moving on.
All right, let's go to the Women's Royal Rumble match. This match lasted 1 hour, 12 minutes, just like this podcast. Nico, starts off.
Oh, Jesus Christ. 1 hour, 12 minutes. Okay, so the match starts off with the official introduction of Lacey Evans to the main roster.
Which was a weird number one.
We got a glimpse of her on a moment of bliss last week, but it was a small glimpse. She officially got to introduce herself here and in front of an entire baseball stadium full of people, which isn't a bad way to officially introduce yourself. Number two, Natalya. And for whatever reason, Natalya was just she's still a target of the Riot Squad, apparently. I thought this feud ended months ago, though. Same here. But apparently no one gave the Riot Squad the message because she tossed Liv Morgan out like a fly out a window.
I think she holds the quickest
that hurt my feelings.
Elimination in a women's Rumble match.
I don't think you're wrong. But I guess I'll just... Stars of this match would probably have to be, for one, Natalya, because of how long she actually lasted in the match. Ember Moon, for as long as she did last in there, she was a star in there too. Nikki Cross, she wasn't in there that long, but she definitely made her presence known. Xia Li, good way to introduce her to the more main roster WWE fan base. And she had some good showings in the Mae Young Classic. She's been kicking it on NXT, and now she got to be one of the NXT women to show her stuff to the rest of the world.
Candice LeRae.
Yes, Candice LeRae, Kairi Sane. Great showings by them as well. Charlotte Flair, I'm going to be positive on Charlotte Flair. She had a great showing in the match, especially the way things played out for her at the end. She looked so ready.
We're never going to doubt Charlotte's wrestling ability.
She looked so ready to take that victory, and then Becky Lynch she fought with everything she had and got the victory over the fresher opponent. Fresher in a different sense because Becky came out last technically. But anyway, so great showing by her. Naomi and I'm going to use two names here. Naomi and Casey Catanzaro. I love how now Naomi wasn't in very long. But I love that both of these women got to have Kofi Kingston moments. And Kofi Kingston
was insane.
I know that American Ninja Warrior background really
no feet, just like hobbling and then like hooking her feet to the post and like walking herself up.
Like that's actual ninja shit right there that she did. Mm-hmm. And like both of them should be commended for it.
I actually like how the Naomi one tied into storyline as well, because like she made the jump and then Mandy Rose just pushed her off again, prolonging that storyline a bit more.
Yes, and I'm very interested to see how things play out as we get closer to Elimination Chamber. Will Naomi find a partner? I don't know. But anyway, other names. This one's going to be a weird one. Maria Kanellis. I don't know how you guys. I don't know how you guys felt about her, but like for the time she was there, I don't know. She kept me entertained at least. Whether or not it was good or bad entertainment is up for debate. But
you could definitely tell there was a little bit of rust there, but she was definitely entertaining.
Yeah,
I could have done without the whole Alicia Fox, Maria Kanellis little 2 minutes. I got up and went to get a beer at that point. Once I saw Maria Kanellis coming in, I was like, "Oh, beer time!"
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was weird because like she was throwing a childlike tantrum over a hat. Like
Alicia Fox is booked unusually. I think we all can agree to that. But other names, Zelina Vega.
I didn't hear the ring.
I got one word. Hornswoggle. We got a Hornswoggle moment.
By the way, I'm surprised.
I popped huge for Hornswoggle.
I was like, oh my god, he's there. What? How long was he under there for? That's what I want to know.
All night. He was in a duffel bag with a sandwich and a
years he's been gone. He's been under that ring the whole time.
There are probably a couple of plastic bottles full of pee underneath that ring. But by the way, is there like some sort of story that we don't know about? Like, does Zelina Vega have a fear of leprechauns? And that
it was weird. It was weird the way she freaked out.
I think it was more the fact that he just scared her, and technically Hornswoggle scares everyone. So.
Okay, that's fair. Dana Brooke, this was one of her best performances in a long time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Everything looked clean and strong.
Mm-hmm.
So props to her. From what I understand, she got back to her roots of her gymnastics background, and it paid off tenfold with her moveset.
I love how they incorporated the pre-show into this Rumble match with Lana and her leg injury.
Mm-hmm.
Great way to tie in the pre-show.
Yes, and that's where my headcanon booking came in for why Becky tapped out. Maybe she saw what happened with Lana, and she's like, there might be an opening here that I can exploit. Self-preservation.
And then, of course, in that scene, Finlay and Hornswoggle in the same match, and we don't get a face-to-face in the backstage area. Missed opportunity. But you have Becky and Finlay's just like, no.
Getting through the final names on the list, Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley.
Rhea Ripley looked amazing in this match.
Those two are bona fide stars, and their careers have only just begun in WWE.
And Kairi Sane as well.
We mentioned her earlier, but Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley, they came in a little bit later. I like that Io came.
Moonsault is the most beautiful thing.
Yes, and I like that Shirai came in to basically save Kairi after she was getting attacked by the Riot Squad, who came randomly back in after they had all sort of been eliminated from the match. Well, except for Ruby.
Which
she hadn't been eliminated.
She looked impressive too.
Yes, she did. Sonya Deville. She'll always be one of my favorites, and although she wasn't in this match very long, I like what she got to do, and I feel like it's just a matter of time before she gets that big push that I think we all think she's worthy of getting.
I think the push is going to come when she flips on Mandy Rose.
And it's got
Randy Rose is gonna do something that she can't back, and that's what's gonna cause the divide.
And that turn is gonna come soon. Like at some point, Sonya's got to be like, "Okay, friend, I'm sick of your bullshit.
Do you guys
let
see
it
them
go."
winning
I'm
the
telling you,
tag belts at Chamber?
There's a possibility, and I wouldn't mind if that happened. Like that,
and they could have to split them later.
like
I'm sorry, what?
If they, like Nico said, if they, I wouldn't mind seeing them with the tag belts, and if they do, they could use that as the catalyst to split them up later.
Yeah.
And final names on this list here, we have Alexa Bliss. She was in there for a good while.
She got a huge pop.
Well, that's because she hasn't wrestled. That's because she hasn't wrestled in several months. She's been on the shelf injured, and this was her official return. So it was good to see her back in the fray. And she got a couple eliminations in there, and so good showing for her return. Bailey, I'm always gonna love Bailey, no matter how.
The fire side of Bailey was awesome. The angry side of Bailey.
Oh yeah, they gotta harness that more. And I'm glad that they've realized, okay, we can't do sweet innocent Bailey all the time anymore. She can still be fun. She can still be fun, and she can still hug kids every now and then. But like, she's got to show off that.
She has to be more intense.
She's got to show off that intensity, that mean side, and she did exactly that in this match. And if she and Sasha qualify for the Elimination Chamber, we're going to see that intensity. That's where she's going to show it.
Oh, yes.
And finally, now obviously Becky Lynch replaced Lana, and she went on to win the match after getting pretty badly beaten up in the knee. And Charlotte took advantage of that, but Becky overcame. And now she got to point at the sign, as every single person who wins at the Royal Rumble gets to do, is point at that sign. Final two entries, Nia Jax and Carmella. We all knew Carmella was going to come in at number 30. Nia Jax coming in at 29. That was definitely interesting for me because I had kind of forgot what Nia Jax had been doing for a while. So,
which is actually, I wonder if they did that on purpose to like trick the fans, because everyone was expecting Becky to be number 29, and then out comes Nia Jax, just like a FU to the fans a little bit.
And essentially, Becky Lynch did get to come out at number 28. That's her official number of entry. But yeah, they got to play us. They got to play us, and then they got to give us what we wanted to. So
it also put Nia Jax in the ring when Becky's music hits, and you get that reaction from her, because they've crossed paths a couple of times since the quote unquote face breaking incident, right? But since they're not on the same brand, they don't cross each other's paths much. And I don't think Nia Jax figured she was gonna have to deal with Becky.
Yeah.
Especially if you think about that backstage punch from TLC, where Becky just like, I see you.
Keep my name out of your mouth.
Here's my revenge. Boom.
And, keep my name out of your mouth.
And so like just to follow that up here on the big stage, that was real nice. That was real nice. And I think in terms of the overall match, there's a lot to love about this match, and so
So he froze on us, but I will say this. Oh,
he's back.
You froze on us a little bit, so we didn't get to hear the last.
I was going to say that I consider this match as a whole a win. I think this is definitely a great match. If I had to nitpick a little bit, I'd say there were a couple botches from Lacey Evans, but
early.
Yeah.
This is her first official time on the big stage, so nerves might have played a role. It took her a while to find her footing, and when she did, everything was smooth sailing from there. And Maria Kanellis, if she would wrestle more, I feel like she'd do very well as well. But in terms of like every other person in this match, it was a great match. The highlight for me, besides Becky Lynch winning in the way she did, would probably have to be Zelina Vega and Hornswoggle. But yeah, great match. I'm
going to say this. I love the fact that we didn't get the nostalgia returns, but we got building the future of the women's division. So we got a lot of NXT call-ups, a lot of UK stars, a lot of Mae Young Classic competitors, and we didn't get more of the Trish, Lita, Ivory people we saw last year.
I would attribute what happened last year to simply they wanted to make they wanted to make reparations for the women who hadn't had this opportunity in the past.
Yeah,
they were like,
I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I love that. I'm just saying I love that now we've got that. Now let's focus on the future of the women's division, which I love that transition of, okay, you had your great Rumble last year where you had more nostalgia returns, but this year let's focus on it, like the future, the NXT stars, like slowly integrating them in storylines with the main roster people. I think he froze on us again. All right, Adonis, on to you.
I'd like to recount your sentiment. This is my favorite thing from growing up as a kid was the Royal Rumble. That was always my favorite. Like, if I didn't watch wrestling at all during certain parts of my life and I knew the Rumble was coming up, just for shits and giggles, I would order it and watch it. I enjoyed this Rumble a lot. I got to see a lot of competitors that I didn't know from NXT, like that Rhea Ripley chick.
Rhea Ripley's incredible.
She looks like she's gonna be a battler back in the day.
The championship finals on NXT UK.
Yeah, so man, I like her look a lot. I enjoyed seeing it come together more as a Rumble instead of like the previous year where there was 3 or 4 ladies in the ring, and then one would get chucked, another one would come in, maybe another one. Like the ring this year got to
filled up, yeah.
And you got to see a lot of people wrestle against people that you would normally not see.
And again, enjoyed that part. Love how they incorporated different storylines into this Rumble, because of course you have like the Mandy Rose and Naomi situation. You have the Iconics wanting to kind of use the double team to their advantage. So, Billie Kay was like, I'm not going in the ring. I'm waiting on my partner to come in. And then, of course, Nikki Cross comes in, decks her, which then leads Billie to come in. Kind of cat and mouse game there.
Maybe Liv Morgan should have took that advice and waited for Sarah Logan, because that broke my heart. I love me some Liv Morgan. They chucked her out of it. They threw her out faster than an empty cup of coffee. They were like, nope. I enjoyed it.
Nico was still frozen.
No, I don't think he's frozen, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, well, he's gone. Yeah, man. I just think there's a lot of good women talent out there, and I don't think there's not enough titles. And I think there's going to be a paper jam at the end of it.
Yeah.
And a lot of girls who should get shine aren't going to get shine because there's not a woman's type of US, or there's not a woman's type of Intercontinental, or, they're just making one tag type. Like,
I mean, I like the idea of having one tag team belt that's going to flip between Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, and of course NXT UK. That's going to float between all 4 of the brands. So you always have constant teams that will always be able to come forward with it. Instead of like, we have one for SmackDown and one for Raw, but there's not enough women on each division to have their own belts.
Yeah, but do you think that, all right, like we were making the argument before about about Charlotte. She has a title, she loses the title, she gets the title back just for numbers. Okay, or like women like Asuka who now have a belt, but if storyline deems it necessary, they're going to make her cough it up to somebody else who's going to hold on to it for a hot minute. Like Ronda. We both agree Ronda doesn't, maybe she's champion because she's famous, but she doesn't deservedly need to be champion, right? So if there was a woman's type of Intercontinental Championship, girls like Bayley and Alexa Bliss now coming back from injury and these high-level Ember Moon types, right? They can be in big-time matches where there's a strap on the line. Imagine a women's Intercontinental Championship elimination chamber. Ember Moon, Alexa Bliss, Bayley. Who can you throw in there from SmackDown? Ruby Riott, Sonya Deville, and Charlotte. You got 6 women in an elimination chamber. You high entertainment, and at the end of it, it pays off. And there's not a paper jam at the top for a SmackDown or the Raw Women's title. You know, you could develop more storylines because you're not worried about the log jam in the back of girls complaining backstage. Hey, when am I going to get my push? Everybody gets to shine that way, in my opinion. I think you froze too, dude. Yep. Everything died. I'm not muting you. What's going on? No. There you go. Is that working now? Yo, dude, can you hear me? Because I can't hear you. I can't see you. I don't know what's going on.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I'm going to have to edit this part out.
Can you hear me? Hello.
Yo.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Now I can. I couldn't hear nothing for about 5-6 minutes.
All right. Can you hear me now? We're good?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Then
we'll cut back in.
you might have to go back and edit out about 6-7 minutes of that.
That's fine. Okay. So next we have Daniel Bryan taking on AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. I felt this match really suffered from placement because the fans were not into this match. Not because it wasn't a good match, because it definitely was. Just the fans were drained.
Yeah, that women's Royal Rumble took it out of them, especially the whole. It ended with you know the most
Becky winning.
famous. Yeah, the most over star in WWE right now, man or woman, is Becky Lynch.
Mhm.
And once you get that big hero pop for her, everybody was adrenaline dump. Everybody was shell shocked kind of. And
But
then
this match was actually really good when it comes to in-ring work and the feud that elevates both guys. Because Bryan needed that heel turn, needed something new. And this heel turn's working perfectly. And AJ has always been the good guy. He's always been a great babyface against a certain heel. And this works so well because it's more of Daniel Bryan is this kind of entitled, like, for the planet, but he's kind of doing it for the wrong reason heel. And AJ is on the other side of, hey, I get that you want to help the planet, but you're going a little too far with it. And this match had I thought was really good, but the dead crowd really soured me on the match.
You froze again.
Can you hear me?
You froze again.
Hello.
Yeah, I hear you. You broke up.
Okay, are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. On to you.
I believe it was a good, clean match. I enjoyed it. It was entertaining. I just think it suffered from placement, and I was so amped up from the Rumble that not necessarily that I didn't pay attention. Unfortunately, I didn't care at that point. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Like if it would have been any other point of the night, like maybe right before the Rumble, right? Because I think if they would have put it before the women's Rumble, have the women go on, and then have the men Rumble, and then the Brock Lesnar to close out the night,
Mm-hmm.
it probably would have been better off. It sat in a bad spot.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. The one thing that I probably would have done was I probably would have had the Ronda Sasha match after this one, after the women's Rumble match, because that feels like a good, or hell, have Miz and Shane versus the Bar, something to kind of cool down the fans, and then go into this match.
Yeah.
But again, this match was really good, really solid. Daniel Bryan retains, and this match went 24 minutes, 35 seconds. A little too long at some points, but again, I felt like it was a really solid match.
Yeah, I think it also wouldn't have suffered. I think the fact that it went almost 25 minutes hurt it because everybody was so drained from the Rumble. If it would have been fast-paced, high-flying, and ended at like 17, I think it would have got a better pop and result. It would have left a better taste in people's mouth. It wasn't a bad match. It was just,
All right, so next, this is probably my second favorite match of the night, actually. The Universal Championship match. Champion Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman taking on Finn Balor. This is probably my second favorite match of the night, and process of elimination. You can probably guess what my favorite match.
Men's Royal Rumble.
Yep, but we'll get to that in a minute. But this match was really, really, really solid, and it seems like Brock can have really great matches with smaller competitors, like AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, and now Finn Balor. Are you able to hear me?
Nope.
Hello, testing.
There you go.
Okay, so start back up again. 3, 2, 1. But this match showed that Brock can have great matches with smaller competitors.
Yes.
I mean, if you look at the match with Daniel Bryan in Survivor Series or 2017 Survivor Series with AJ Styles, and this match, it was only like 8 minutes, but the fact
Yeah. Cut out again.
testing.
Yep, there you go.
Where did I?
You cut out again. And we lost Nico.
Hello.
Yep, I hear you now.
Okay, my mic gave out on me. But as I was saying, I like how Finn was attacking the body, pushing Lesnar into the edge of the announce table to hurt his ribs, to set the coup de grace, and then Lesnar just snapping on the Kimura the very last moment to win the match.
I was very entertained. I think it showed that Finn Balor belongs in a main event status, and he deserves that push. I also feel like I would have been a little more entertained if he would have came out as the demon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To show like, look, I mean business. I'm bringing everything out of me. I'm bringing that bad side out of me just to get through this monster. I would have been cool. I just feel like, what do they do with Finn Balor from here? You know, obviously, you know, we're gonna get to the Royal Rumble, but
the way I see it is, I'm gonna go ahead and run it for you guys, but you guys see in the Rumble. I see Rollins beating Lesnar at Mania, and then Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor for the title, and then Finn finally getting the Universal title.
And that would be a great match.
Because you could also call back to 2016 SummerSlam, where the finals for the Universal title was Finn Balor and Seth Rollins. And what's cool is you can even do that at a SummerSlam. Make it 2 years later for the same belt, 2 different types of people. Because again, I feel like Rollins is going to beat Lesnar. I have that feeling. And if you set him up with Balor, they have great chemistry already. You can, and then have Finn bring out the Demon to win the title. That's what I see happening. I don't know if we're gonna get Nico back, so let's just go into the Rumble. All right, so let me bring up my notes real quick. All right, so do you remember who was number 1?
Yes, Elias.
That's right. It was Elias, and what a great way to start the Rumble. Because like 1 was Elias, he was doing his big concert, and then number 2 was Jeff freaking Jarrett in full costume, full guitar, everything.
He had the LED double J's on the hat.
Yes, he did. Great. And what's weird here is I thought Elias was supposed to be a good guy. I guess they scrapped that.
I mean, he can play both sides of the fence. The anti-hero works with Elias. He could be a dick when he wants to, and he could be a good guy when he wants to.
Yep. And then
I really enjoyed that I got to see him hit Double J with that guitar, though.
Oh yeah. Because
I was like, that's what you get for all those years of being an asshole.
Yeah. It's like payback.
That's how it feels, fucker. You know how I felt? Remember in Thor Ragnarok when Hulk smashes Thor on the floor and Loki screams out, "That's how it feels."
Yeah.
That's exactly how I felt when I saw.
Right, so 3 was Shinsuke Nakamura.
Wait, how much have I missed so far? I'm finally back now.
We've talked about the WWE title match, the Universal title match, and now we're on the men's Rumble.
All right, so just quick thoughts on that. AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan. That was the match I felt that had been affected by fan fatigue.
Yeah, we actually talked about that. The placement was all wrong on this match.
I don't feel like the placement was wrong because for what they were going for, they wanted to have both title matches for the women go on before the women's Royal Rumble, and then they wanted to do the same for the men's.
I get it.
And I feel like I feel like the reason why I like the tag match so much between Shane and Miz and The Bar was because of placement. It was a good, they didn't.
What's funny is I said that I would have that match after the Rumble match as a good cool down entertaining match. You put that one in its place because it's still entertaining, it's still fun, but it's not as long or heavy as a WWE title match.
And maybe that's fair. Maybe they were concerned about the Rumbles going long, and they didn't want to hinder the Rumble match for time. So they were just like, okay, here's how we'll book things.
Yeah,
and whatever happens.
All right.
But yeah, that's how I feel about. I like the match for what it was, but I feel like I could have liked it more. And because of the lack of fan reaction to the match from fatigue.
He made it sound-
The Eric Rowan reveal felt a little flat. Now, granted,
we
they're
didn't actually
making
talk about that. I like the Eric Rowan reveal. I love that thing.
I like it too. I just feel like in that moment in time, it fell flat, and again because of everything, because of other circumstances. When they followed it up on SmackDown last night, it worked better. Good idea. Just maybe a bad day for that to happen. But anyway, so that's my thoughts on the WWE title match. Now the Universal Championship match, it went kind of, maybe not in terms of the moves that were used, but in terms of like the story that was being told, it went exactly as expected. In that Finn was gonna go for broke. Finn was gonna go for broke, and he did exactly that. But Brock was just able to counter Finn's heart with muscle, and he brought back the Kimura to like, when all was said and done, he had to break out a move he hasn't broken out in a long time. That was the Kimura, which is a muscle submission. Like, you have to muscle. It's use leverage to get it to work. And Brock is a big man. He was able to do exactly that. Finn still looks strong in defeat. And Brock, he now has a much different David versus Goliath match as he takes on Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. And we've seen these two go at it before. First one, it was a 3-way with Roman Reigns, and Seth came out on top. Second time,
was a 3-way match with John Cena.
Third time was a match that the Undertaker randomly interfered in. And now we're going for match number 4, and this is where Seth Rollins is going to get the props from the fans that he deserves, as he takes on the guy who everyone is pissed off at because he rarely shows up. But then again,
which is actually the one thing that we were talking about is, like, because he asked, where does Finn Balor go after this? I said what they could do is have Rollins beat Lesnar at Mania, and then have set up Finn versus Seth for the title at SummerSlam down the road. Because you could always go back to 2 years ago, or 3 years ago now, when when it was Rollins versus Balor for the title, and of course bring up the powerbomb to the apron, because that's what caused the downward spiral in a way, and then have Balor beat Rollins for the title, and then have this kind of like overarching story.
And I'm cool with that. But yeah, good match. You think it was match of the night? I feel like that.
Second match of the night.
Okay. So yeah, those are my thoughts on that. Now, getting back to the Rumble discussion, which I just randomly entered.
We were at number 3, which was Nakamura. We talked about Jeff Jarrett coming out with Elias, which was amazing.
That was fun. That was fun. And yeah, I kind of had a feeling Elias was going to randomly turn on Jeff. And I like Elias's reasoning behind it. Like, I've been compared to this guy for years. I am not a knockoff. I am my own man. So I like that motivation.
Yeah. The only thing, and I brought it up again, was I thought Elias was face, but I guess he's going to be kind of both.
Rumbles can create for strange dynamics, and in this case, like, even heels even faces can have soft spots that they get angry about. Yeah,
but what's weird is he was like he also went back to like shitting on the fans. Talking about their sports teams and everything like that.
He still does that every now and then. He still likes to push the crowd's buttons from time to time in regards to things about where they come from. But he knows how to get them on his side. And that, in the end, that's what matters. You're not there to promote a sports
to pull it off.
Yeah, you're not there to promote a sports team that's local. You're there to promote yourself. And he knows how to do that.
All right, so next was Nakamura. Then at number 4 was Kurt Angle, which was, great to see him back in the ring.
He wasn't in this match very long.
3 minutes.
No, he wasn't. And then next was Big E, and then our first of a lot of NXT call-ins, Johnny Gargano. which is actually really cool because Candice LeRae, his wife, was in the women's match. So it's cool to see both of them on the big main stage.
And now Johnny is the North American champion, and he's going to be competing on the returning halftime heat this Sunday during the Super Bowl. So that's very cool. Very
Isn't
cool.
it like him?
I got an excuse to not watch Maroon 5. Yes.
Yeah. But like, it's going to be him, Johnny, Tommaso, and Adam Cole taking on Ricochet, Dream, and Black, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, great to see Johnny there. He actually lasted a pretty good amount.
Yeah, he had a very strong showing throughout this match.
Oh yeah. Then we get Jinder Mahal. Then
he was out. Jinder Mahal was out like that.
Yeah. Then we had Joe, Samoa Joe, and then Kurt Hawkins, which Kurt Hawkins was so funny.
Yeah.
He kind of pulled a Billy Kay. He's like, I'm not getting in the ring. And then he finally gets in the ring.
Where do you guys stand on that? Because for me, like, it's smart, but there's only so long you can actually get away with it before someone's like, oh, no, you don't.
I actually find it kind of funny for someone like a Kurt Hawkins because, like, he's going to get eliminated fast. So kind of play with it. Kind of be like, oh, like run around the ring or something like, they can't catch me, whatever. And then, of course, Titus O'Neil comes out, sees that Kurt is under the ring, and then just dives under to get him. Playing on the Titus World slide.
I think when they both went under the ring, Hornswoggle should have came out first again.
Yeah, that would have been hilarious.
That would have been a good tie-in, and that would have,
Great tie-in when like Titus is like running down. He just like kind of stops and then starts celebrating with the fans. Like, I didn't slip this time.
But he did get eliminated in 5 seconds.
Yeah, and then he got it in the Kurt Hawkins eliminated him. Oh man, poor Titus. Like, the guy is like the nicest guy outside of the ring, but like the dude can't catch a break.
What can you do?
And then was to get chunked.
Yeah, let's stop here for a second. Kofi Kingston, he got to have 2 moments where he escaped elimination,
and one of them was ugly.
I feel like the New Day was kind of misused in this match. Like, they've had some great Royal Rumble performances in the past. This was not one of them.
Yeah. I actually like the one where like Xavier Woods is holding him in like a wheelbarrow position almost, and they're like both walking at the exact same time.
But there was really no reason for him to approach it that way. He literally could have just picked him up like a baby and then carried him to the stairs. Whereas,
but again, it's like we've kind of already seen that, and it's not as entertaining if you just like carry him. Add like a New Day twist to it in a way.
But Kofi already kind of had one moment where he escaped elimination. This one just kind of felt like we don't have any idea what to do with Xavier Woods in this match, so let's just throw Kofi back in there.
Yeah, I would have had this one over the kind of the rotating like handstand.
I thought that one was better than the stupid Xavier Woods one.
Different opinions, but I mean, I think that the Xavier Woods one looked better than just him just like turning on the ring apron again, which is kind of something we've already seen him do.
I mean, how many other ways can you save yourself at this point that he hasn't milked?
Just not get in the ring. He could literally hang out on commentary for a little bit and just be like, annoy Corey Graves with pancakes.
Go Vince McMahon from '99 on him, just not go in the ring and sit on commentary until the last person.
Or have somebody or a couple of dudes and set up a couple of jobbers in the front row and let them catch him in the audience and crowd surf maybe.
They kind of did that. They kind of
did that with No Way Jose Conga line, right?
No, they did that with the Rosebud several years ago.
No. He's talking about just like maybe have Kofi like jump to the crowd, and the crowd like holding him up, and then get him to the announce table.
I get what he means. It's just they kind of did that already in a sort of a different manner several years ago with the Rosebuds. So like it's a spot that we've already seen, and that's probably why they didn't do it with No Way Jose. Like that's why No Way got eliminated so quickly.
Yeah, but all his spots have been done, and now Naomi is repeating them.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like you have to keep upping yourself each time. But like the best one that he's done, in my opinion, is the using the announce chair as a stick and just like hopping his way to the ring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know what? I just thought of something. Here's what you do next year for Kofi. Actually, let him win the Rumble.
Yes.
Like he's escaped elimination so many times that we've run out of ideas for him to do. Dude, so now the only logical conclusion is to actually have him win the match.
Or I got a better one. Get somebody who you really want to push that's dominant, and the minute they get a hold of Kofi, they spike him on the ground where he has no choice but to hit the ground, and he's done. No saving himself. You take him out clean and cold one time early.
That just sounds sad. That just sounds sad.
No, it's not sad. No, but you get a push. You get a push on a heel, right? And you give him a whole other year to develop another way to save himself the year after that.
See, what sucks about this is, like, I was actually pulling for Kofi to win the Rumble this year, and then do him and Daniel Bryan with like Daniel Bryan's like anti-product placement, and Kofi is and the New Day are all product placements. Like these pancakes, the cereal. Like you could have made a great Mania match between Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan. Like have him come out with the new belt, and have Kofi just like bringing out the real belt, like doing the pancakes and just having product placements.
Well, or have the belt look like a NASCAR with all like sponsors on it.
Yes, that would be amazing. Just like nothing but product placements on the belts.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting here because like we're close to the Elimination Chamber. We now know who the 6 people are that are going to be in the chamber fighting for that title, and we know that Seth Rollins is going for Brock's red belt. So after Elimination Chamber, there's still some questions as to there's still Fastlane, but there's still some questions as to like who's gonna face for the WWE title. Like, will Daniel still be champion at that point? And if so, who's he gonna face? So like, there's still a possibility that your idea could actually happen.
They could do like a number 1 contenders chamber match for SmackDown. Have Kofi in there.
Well, they're doing a title match in the chamber for SmackDown.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I think Randy Orton is slowly starting to get another push. You notice that?
I hope not.
Why not?
Nah. They're setting things up for him versus Joe.
Yeah. And I like Orton, but we don't need a repeat of last year. Or, I'm sorry, of 2017.
Okay, so putting the producer hat on, we've gotten off track. Kofi Kingston, he came in at
I gotta go soon.
Number 13 was Mustafa Ali, who had one of the best performances of the entire night.
He was amazing.
Yes, Mustafa Ali's best performance was marred by getting chucked by Nia Jax. I think.
Yeah.
I think Braun Strowman should have eliminated him.
I'm kind of not as mad as you guys are about this. Like, I'm a little bummed, but at the same time, hey, if you're gonna get eliminated by a woman, Nia Jax is the right woman to eliminate you. That's my thing.
I don't like Nia in general.
Anyway,
14 was Dean Ambrose. 15 was No Way Jose, which he got eliminated pretty fast.
2 seconds. 2 seconds.
What's funny is next was Drew McIntyre, and he beat down the conga line. Like he gave one of them a Claymore. He just headbutted Jose and then gave the other one a Claymore kick.
Didn't he powerbomb one onto the other one?
Yeah. Then we had Xavier Woods, and then another kind of surprise, the Bruiserweight, Pete Dunne. Again, another guy who had a great showing in the Rumble match. Man, I'm a huge Pete Dunne fan.
I mean, I'm not too familiar with the UK guys, right? I don't see where he's gonna fit into the WWE mix.
Put him on SmackDown. Don't put him on Raw. Then you can do something with him. And then we have
a US title picture, maybe.
Yeah, dude, I would love to see Pete Dunne versus Daniel Bryan. Come on. 19, we have Andrade Cien Almas, who's just going by Andrade, which means this company hates last names. I think we lost Nico again.
I mean, he had 3 freaking names up until a week ago, so I'm good with this thing.
I mean, one was technically like a nickname, but
yeah, but you don't have too many Spanish friends, right? Where Jose Monteo Perez Gonzalez Rodriguez.
But also, and we're getting off topic, but it's fine. It's just, it's weird how they're like no last names. Because you have like Elias, who was Elias Sampson. You had Big E, who was Big E Langston, who's now just Big E. Like it's kind of funny that they're like no last name for people. I'm ready for Seth Rollins to become just Seth, or Finn Balor to become just Finn. Which again, CN had a great showing, made it to the Final 4. Number 20 was Apollo Crews. Number 21 is another NXT call-up, my boy Aleister Black, which, again, him and Pete Dunne had a great sequence in this match. That's another match I want to see happen immediately. Number 22 was Shelton Benjamin. Number 23 was fucking Baron Corbin. I don't like Baron Corbin, but whatever.
That boy can wrestle.
Huh?
He can wrestle.
Corbin can't wrestle.
Yeah, Corbin has some good spots. I don't know. I feel differently about him, but
Number 24 was Jeff Hardy. Number 25 was Rey Mysterio. Number 26 was the big boy Bobby Lashley.
Waste.
Yeah, a waste in this match. Number 27 was the Monster Among Men, Braun Strowman. Number 28 was the returning Dolph Ziggler. Number 29 was Randy Orton. And number 30 was R-Truth. Wait, no.
Nia Jax.
Why?
I enjoyed it. Why? Why not? What are you going to get out of R-Truth? What's up? What's up? What's up? It's whack. It's played itself out.
Yeah, but like you were doing entertaining stuff with R-Truth, and now you're just gonna throw him away to get this pop that didn't happen. The fans don't like Nia to begin with. Why put it? I mean, if you were gonna do that, why not make Drew McIntyre number 30 instead of putting him where he was? Have Drew come out, claymore the hell out of R-Truth, and then he's taking the spot.
I mean, yeah, you could do that. I think it's mostly to test the waters to see if they want to go back to doing intergender wrestling.
Which I'm definitely okay with that because, again, I watch like a lot of Mexican lucha libre matches, which they have that. But again, people already hate Nia.
And this gives her a reason to hate them more because everybody loves R-Truth.
I guess, but I mean, was R-Truth? I mean, R-Truth is popular, but did it really achieve anything? Again, if it was Drew McIntyre and came out,
he's the U.S. champion now.
Yeah, but again, I don't know how long that's gonna last. It's probably gonna be like the Zack Ryder situation, where they sometimes give him push, sometimes don't. But
or maybe something we don't know. Maybe the surprise was somebody else. An injury or circumstantial situations didn't allow that person to show or perform.
Maybe.
And they had to fill in the spot. And they were like, you know what? We've been wanting to test this out anyway. Let's test it out with Nia. She wasn't in the Women's Rumble long. She was 29. And it gets good heat on her. And it's a way to, get rid of some of the guys that were in the ring already and get because they didn't cheer when she was walking down. when she scooped up Mustafa Ali and chucked his ass, everybody was on board.
Which again, he deserved better.
Yeah, but there was so many veterans in that ring. You're not gonna tell 20-year experienced Rey Mysterio or Randy Orton, hey, you're gonna let this chick chuck you.
Dolph was in there. You could have had Dolph.
Yeah, Dolph still has too much to lose by having that. Mustafa Ali is young and he's coming up. He doesn't have the resume that these dudes have to say, hey, no, she's not throwing me out. And he's one of the smaller dudes in the ring. She was bigger than him. She could pick him up. I thought she was going to Samoa drop him. I didn't think she was going to chuck him.
But like the way I'm looking at this is, like, Ali has been booked to look strong on SmackDown against Joe. Like, him and Joe are in a feud right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of derails that a little bit. But Dolph, who wasn't in a feud, could take a loss because he's done it before. And, it would have been an entertaining pop. But have Mustafa Ali stay in there. Like, not only does that give more credit to Ali, still make him look strong. Dolph can take the loss, but it lets the story of Joe versus Ali simmer more and more and more and more. Because then, I'm not sure, was Joe still in there at the time?
Samoa Joe was gone already.
Was he?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I mean, again.
Yeah, because Mustafa Ali was the one who eliminated Samoa Joe.
Yeah, again, what I would have done there is I would have had Joe beat the hell out of Ali and then just walk off. So he's not technically eliminated, but he's just like, he's out. That continues the storyline there. And then when Nia comes out, she eliminates Ziggler, and then like you could do the spies before with like Ali and the super kick, and then the 619, and then the RKO eliminated, and then it's Ali, Orton, Mysterio, Strowman, and Seth left.
All right.
That's the way I would have done it.
I can see that.
But
all right, man, we're 2 hours deep, man. We got to run this down.
Yeah. All right. So then we had again, as I pointed out, Nia Jax took a super kick from Ziggler, and then a 619 from Ray, and then an RKO from Orton. She got eliminated. Then Braun so it's down to Braun, Andrade, Ziggler,
and Seth Rollins was out on the table still.
Yep. And then Braun came in and eliminated both Ziggler and CN. And then it came down to Braun and Rollins. Rollins tried to do a Royal Rumble 04 with Chris Benoit. With Chris Benoit and Big Show trying to use the lever to pull him out. That didn't work. He got him on the apron. He hit 2 super kicks and a curb stomp to Braun Strowman to eliminate him. Seth Rollins is your 2019 male Royal Rumble winner.
I think that's by the way it should have ended.
Yep.
Overall, I thought it was very entertaining. I thought the right guy is getting the win and the right push. And it was a clean, good Royal Rumble. Very entertaining. Mm-hmm. It had its little slow spots here and there at the beginning, but for the most part, I was entertained. It was really good.
Oh yeah, this is my favorite match of the night because it had a little bit of everything: a little bit of comedy, a little bit of action, a little bit of storytelling, a little bit of great progression of younger talent like Mustafa Ali, Johnny Gargano, Aleister Black, Pete Dunne, and it also had a great winner in Seth Rollins, Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch were both the obvious choice, but sometimes the obvious choice is the best choice.
Yep.
Okay, so Nico's not coming back in because stupid internet, but Adonis, where can people find you online?
Here at Combat Wrestling, you can find me on Multiplex and on Facebook at Adonis Nazario.
All right. And of course, thank you guys for watching. Remember to hit that subscribe button and check out more Week of Wrestling video podcasts. If you guys enjoy this, let me know in the comments below. I will give Royal Rumble a 4.5 out of 5. What's your rating, real quick?
I give it a 4.
Give it a 4? All right. Yeah, thank you, everybody, and we'll see you guys soon. Peace.